Some of the biggest ideas in science aren't happening in a lab somewhere. They're happening right outside your window. Seriously, maybe even in your own backyard. We're talking about ecosystems. And I promise, once you know what to look for, you're going to start seeing them absolutely everywhere. All right, so let's just jump right in with a question. Think about your backyard, or maybe a park nearby. Is a garden an ecosystem? I mean, really think about it. You've got your plants, right? The bugs, the dirt. Do all those little pieces actually add up to something bigger? Well, the answer is a big, resounding yes. And here's the cool part. Your garden isn't just an ecosystem, it's actually the perfect little model for understanding how all of them work. So yeah, that's exactly where we're going to start. So what's the secret sauce? What's the one thing that connects a tiny garden to a massive forest or even the entire ocean? It all comes down to one word: interconnection. See, it's not just about what's in a place. It's about how all those things are working together in this, intricate dance. Okay, so here's the more official definition. An ecosystem is a complex, interconnected environment of living and non-living components. But look, the real key, the magic ingredient in all of this is that one little word: interact. That's it. It's all about the relationships, the back and forth between the living stuff and its non-living environment. To really get this, we've got to break it down into its two main parts. Think of them as the fundamental building blocks. And I mean every ecosystem, whether it's a tiny puddle or the whole Pacific Ocean, is built from just these two things: the living stuff and the non-living stuff. So let's put these two side by side. On one hand, you have the biotic components. It's just a sciencey word for all the living things. Plants, animals, bugs, the works. And on the other hand, you have the abiotic components. These are all the non-living physical things like the soil, the wind, the temperature. The abiotic stuff is basically the stage, and all the biotic things are the actors. Okay, let's bring this back to our garden and see how this all clicks into place. We'll start with the biotic parts, the living crew. This is where the garden, quite literally comes to life. So in your garden's biotic community, you've got the obvious stuff. The plants, right? The grass, any trees, beautiful flowers like roses or sunflowers. But it's so much more than that. You've also got all the animals, the frogs, all the different insects, basically everything that's buzzing, hopping, or crawling around. And they're all interacting, all tangled up in this amazing web of life. But what about the stage they're all performing on? What about those non-living or abiotic factors? These are kind of the unseen forces, the silent foundation that makes all of that vibrant life we just mentioned even possible. And seriously, don't underestimate these guys. Without the abiotic components, there would be no life. Period. The temperature, that decides what can even grow there. The amount of rain, that determines if the garden is lush or struggling. Even the wind plays a part, helping with pollination. And the soil, full of minerals, is basically the kitchen pantry that feeds the entire plant community. Okay, so now that we've used our garden to figure out the basic building blocks, you can start to see this pattern literally everywhere. The exact same rules living things interacting with their non-living environment apply to every single ecosystem on the planet. And these ecosystems come in all shapes and sizes. You've got the huge natural ones like forests, ponds, and lakes that have been developing for thousands of years. But, and this is super interesting, they can also be artificial or human-made. Our garden is a perfect example of that. So are the crop fields that grow our food. Even though we create and manage them, those fundamental rules of interaction, they still apply. There's a quote that just nails this whole idea perfectly. Within these systems, various organisms interact and maintain a balance in nature. And that's the whole ballgame right there. Balance. Every ecosystem is constantly working to maintain this delicate equilibrium. So when something throws that balance off, maybe a new invasive species shows up, or there's a sudden heat wave, the entire web feels it. Every single piece, living or not, plays an absolutely critical role. So I want to leave you with a little challenge. Now that you know this secret, that an ecosystem is really just a story about interaction, where are you going to spot one next? Will it be in a local park? What about a single crack in the sidewalk with a weed growing out of it? Or even just a puddle after a rainstorm? Go look around. What hidden ecosystem will you discover today?